welcome. This warm-up I'm calling the TC, or Traverse City, and that's just because that's the audience that I did it for. It's the warm-up you want to do in order to get your embouchure ready, your breathing really in good shape, your turnaround, and also finding this thing I call the reflection, which is a really core component of the way that I think about trumpet. So that's what this is for, and then it also is a pretty complete one. I'm a little bit running out of time today. I have to go do auditions in about a half an hour, so we'll do as much of it as we can, and then I'll make a second video doing the rest of it, or maybe I'll do it all again on my weekend. So anyway, we're going to start with some just very basic stretches, okay? So just what you're going to do is you're going to tank up all the way as full as you can go, not super full, you don't have to absolutely top off, and you're just going to do some stretches while you have your lungs full. We're trying to get that stretch in the sides there and sort of the bottom and the top, and just feel like we're not kind of, shriveled up. So here we go. Just breathe out when you need to, breathe back in, and do another stretch. If you feel like you're coughing, that's a good thing, because that means you're getting air into parts of your lungs that generally haven't seen air in a while. So try to touch your toes. And then around the sides. Back around. Another good one you can do is sort of like you're stretching your shoulders and your arms here. Really gets right in here to stretch. So we don't have to do a lot of that, but a little bit is good, about 2 minutes, 3 minutes, something like that. Now, we're going to do some breathing, and at the first we're going to just do 4 beats in and then just out, okay? And we're just going to do that a couple of times, then we'll do 2 beats in, then we'll do 1 beat in, and you'll see. And each time we want to get a little closer to having a focused, ready embouchure, right? So we'll address that as we go. I'm going to turn on a metronome for us. Sorry if that's loud. Here we go. Ready? Get rid of your air, and ready, in. Just let it out. And we're focused on the turnaround, so you might use your arm as a gauge there to make it turn around immediately. So there's no holding our breath, right? Here we go again. And. I'm going to do it a couple more times. A little closer to our ready embouchure. Just let that out. Now let's try 2 beats, right? And again, at each time I'm focusing on getting my embouchure closer to what might actually work. So if you need to, pick up a mouthpiece and just feel what that feels like. Maybe even buzz a little bit, right? Just find that spot. And then what we're going to want to do is breathe in the most at the beginning, and then sort of a decrescendo so that we're at the place where we need to be to blow when the time comes. Right? So here we go again. Now it's 2 beats. Ready? And. Do that again. Ready? And. And you can see when I make my embouchure, I change my hand to being this, instead of this sort of flat sort of hand, I make it into something pointier, because that's what I'm thinking about doing with the air. All right? Now let's try just 1 beat. 1 beat in and just let it out. Ready? Ready? And. That was okay. I can do better than that. 1, 2, 3. That was a little late on that one. I need a couple more of these. And 1, 2, 3. We might do a couple of these in a row. So let's do 1, 2, 3, breathe, 1, 2, 3, breathe, 1, 2, 3, breathe, 1, 2, 3, right? So you're going to let out your air over 3 and breathe it again on 4. And 1, 2, 3. Right? Okay, good. That's great. Now, we're going to do this, and we're going to do it on the mouthpiece now, okay? So I'll shut this off for a second. If you're a little bit, losing your balance, a little bit blacking out, take time, maybe sit down, grab a chair. Because breathing exercises, especially fast ones, sometimes make us kind of go a little silly, and you're in danger of passing out, so make sure you don't. Maybe put your head between your knees and just breathe deeply and slowly if you can. All right? But that's enough of that. Now we're going to apply that turnaround. So this is why we tried to make our embouchure set up something that's going to be useful, because now we're going to have to apply that to a real buzz. And at first we don't care if anything comes out. We don't want to force the buzz to come out. And we're never tonguing. We're just breath attack. Make sure you don't, right? Don't make the buzz happen. Let it happen, right? So you might just find a place. And we also don't care what note comes out. So I might not even be on a real note, right? I might be way out of tune. That's not the point right here, right? We'll get on the horn. We'll be in tune later. But for now, we just want to make sure that the buzz is happening naturally and as a result of this turnaround, okay? So we'll do the same thing at 90 beats per minute. And we're going to breathe for 2, okay? And there's 2 parts to this exercise. The first part is just getting that buzz. So we're going to do breathe for 2, play 2, 3, and. Breathe for 2, play 2, 3, off. Now we're going to do it on the mouthpiece. And again, don't make the buzz come out. Just try to get your embouchure set up and blow through the mouthpiece and try to make it more and more focused, and eventually a buzz will happen on some pitch. So here we go. I even set it up before. It's okay to put it on there, right? And even add a little pressure, and we're going to breathe through the corners of the mouth, right? So you won't be able to see that when I hold. You should hold your mouthpiece in some sort of balanced way. For now, just so you can see, I'm going to hold it the wrong way. That was a good one. So you want to practice this more and more until it feels totally natural that buzz, all you did was turn around the air and the buzz just snaps into position. So if it helps you, you can think that you're 97% ready, sort of preset, if you will, and then the last 3% of your embouchure has to respond to the air. If you preset more than that, then you're going to get a stiff kind of embouchure that's maybe not flexible, or maybe too flexible, or maybe not a good sound. If you don't preset that much, then you get random results a lot, so that sometimes it feels really great when you play, sometimes it feels too open, sometimes it's too tight, sometimes you don't have what you need to move around the horn without changing your lips. So we're setting up something that's really stable and that uses our tongue position and air to move around instead of lip tension. Okay, so now that we've done that, we're gonna do what I call alarm clock tones, and we're gonna do them slower. Get down to 60 here, okay? And we're just going to do quarter note off, quarter note off. It'll sound like an alarm clock. And again, any pitch is fine, but now we're just practicing being able to put this in that place every time. So same thing that we did before, but now we might not breathe the same amount. We're not letting all the way out and all the way back in. And this is to practice catch breath, but also just getting familiar with this position. All right? So here we go. You can do this on the trumpet too. So if you get your B flat trumpet, let's say, all right, I can do this, let's say on hour B, concert A. I'll pull out my tuning slide a little bit. All right. And I just want to make sure that it's going to work, right? We haven't really talked about the reflection yet, but we'll get there. So let's try. Yeah, almost what I played before. Ready? And. So you're just practicing that you're turning around and getting a note back, okay? Now, the next thing we're going to do is reflection. And reflection is it's this feeling that when you play, it's not just that you buzz your lips like we did in the mouthpiece, right? It's not just and then the trumpet amplifies it. That is happening, but that's not the only thing that can happen. We can do a little bit more than that. And so what I like to think is that I blow through the lips, through the mouthpiece, and the compression of the air column inside the trumpet, right, gives me something back, and that causes my lips to come together and start vibrating, and then I'm going to lean into that. So there's actually a few extra steps. The first step, though, is just identifying it. And so the way that we're going to do that, if you have a B-flat trumpet, you're going to take out your second valve. Okay, I'll try to get close here. Take out your second valve, and you're going to put, valve slide, I should say. You're going to put it back in just the bottom pipe, right, so that it looks like that. And don't let it fall out. You're going to have to sort of hold it against your hand like that, all right, just so it doesn't fall out. Some of it, if your second valve doesn't come out, then you can take your whole first valve slide completely out and put it aside. It's just it's gonna blow back in your face, and that's not as pleasant. So, and then if you're doing C trumpet, I'll show you that in a moment. So, if you're playing along with this, you'll probably have to be B flat. But maybe I'll do a whole other version on C trumpet for you. Anyway, we're going to get a G both on the bell now and when we put down the second valve. So if this is confusing, we're basically doing lead pipe buzzing, but we're doing it through a little bit longer of a lead pipe. So instead of getting a G on top of the staff and a low E, we're able to get a partial that is equivalent to our G or F concert. So, right, that's the sound we want. And we're going to do the same thing. We're applying this turnaround to the reflection. I got to keep an eye on the time here. We're doing pretty good. So, and I'll put on my Instagram a copy of this exercise. If you look at it on there, V means vented and B means bell, and so you're going to push down the valve for vented and you're going to let go for bell, right? But the first thing we're going to do is just get a really good core lead pipe buzz sound. We want it to be buzzy like angry bees, and connected to this turnaround, right? Don't start goosing it. Don't start making sure that a note comes out, right? If a note doesn't come out, oh, that's fine. We just put our lips a little closer together, make sure that our tongue position is helping, and we go. You might even go back a couple of steps and just go back to practicing the breathing and just rebuild it real quickly, 30 seconds or something. But at any rate, now we've rested a little bit. Here we go. We can do this also, I guess, with, well, we don't really need a metronome because the first part's just going to be fermata. So just get a good lead pipe buzz. Bobbling around a little bit. I'm probably just a little bit out of shape, or I played too much today already. And you want to get it so that it's relaxed, but that you're holding. You want a nice firm embouchure that you can press into a little bit without much trouble. All right. So let me do this a little bit more. Feel like you really got it, then we're going to let go of the button and just see what that sounds like coming out of the horn. So I like to do these sort of with a metronome just because we'll sort of build it from here faster and faster, and then we're going to add some tonguing. So I think probably we can do probably something like 80. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, here we go. So we're going to do 4 valve, 4 vented, 4 bell, and then back to the vented. And that'll probably be one good breath. And what we're looking for is, first, can I get that same buzz, right? That's what I started with. What does that sound like on the bell side? And then, did I change anything? So when I go back, it should be the exact same as what I started. Here we go. I was hearing that G a little bit high. I'm sorry about that. Now we've got it. Let's do that one again. So pretty good. Now what we're going to try is just double that speed, right? So we're going to do half notes each way, and we'll try to do maybe 8 of them, or until we run out of air. Still starting with a breath attack on the valve side. Sorry, on the vented side. We could reverse that as well. We'll do one more same way, and then we'll reverse it. There we go. And ready. We're only doing this with a metronome so that we can stay together with it. If you're doing it on your own, you can do this as slow or as fast as you want and for as long as you want until you really feel good about it. All right, but now we want to be able to get that reflection as soon as we start, not on the lead pipe, but on the bell. The lead pipe magnifies that reflection so we can feel it and find it easier, but now we need to know where it is. So we're going to do bell first and then check it on the vented side, on the lead pipe side. So bell first. Same exercise. And ready, and... that when you do this, if you nail it, then you can keep it. If you didn't nail it, you can't really get it back from the lead pipe side. You almost have to start over. So if it doesn't happen for you, you change the valve and it's really different, then do some more of the lead pipe buzzing first, and then switching to the bell until you feel really comfortable with where that bell side is. All right, so now we're gonna start some tonguing, and we're still going back and forth between the bell. But let's do 4 quarter notes at this tempo of just, I'm always going to breath attack initially, right? And on the change. So I'm never going to change and tongue. I'm just going to breath attack in and then change as a slur, so to speak, right? But otherwise, I'm going to tongue. And I like to think tsa, like pizza. If you say pizza, you say pizza. And then pizza tsa tsa, pizza tsa tsa. That's kind of how I tongue. It seems really brushy and really inaccurate, but with a reflection, it's extremely accurate. It's extremely clean. So that's why we're doing this. So you can tongue the way you normally tongue, but I like pizza tongue. Here we go. Give you a heads up on what we were doing exactly. So now that you know, let's do it again. Ready? Yeah, now we're kind of getting into it. Now let's just double the speed. So we'll do 1/8 notes and twice as fast back and forth. All right, so still 4 each time. 2 and... I find a lot of times when I go to the faster notes, I start getting this little in my especially my lead pipe buzzing, and that's me changing too much. I'm not engaged enough. Okay, let's do that one again. And you can actually connect these together, so you could do like that, or make up your own exercise, whatever is efficient for you. Because once you know what these all do, you're just kind of checking the templates, right? You're just going through. That's a Charlie Schluter thing that I just said from the book In Concert. But yeah, you're just kind of making sure that it's still where you thought it was. All right, but let's do one more, just eighth notes. 1, 2. Yeah, good. And now, I also wanted to show you, just briefly while you're resting, and you could do this for a long time actually. This exercise can wear you out, but it's never going to hurt you any more than normal playing would, because you're actually mostly playing the trumpet, right? It's not mouthpiece buzzing, it's not cutout buzzing, it's not free buzzing. It's very much related to the trumpet, and that's important. So, but you can also do other notes, and that's what I wanted to show you. On the B flat trumpet, if you have the second valve going, and I'm not actually sure about the first valve, we can try it, but you can go from G, and then you can play a D this way, right, 2 and 3, and then this way, 1 and 3, and you're bypassing that second valve again, right? So I'll show you, I'll play a little to the side here. And it's a lot harder, for me at least, to do these exercises on that low D. So I always do G first, and then I'll switch to D just and do some of the things. And then if you're on a C trumpet, if you've been waiting for that, I'll put my horn back together. Switch to C. If you're going to do this on a C trumpet, you're going to take your first valve out and put it back in. So I'll try to show this, right? Oops, get it in the focal plane there, okay? You're going to take it out and put it back in there, and then you're going to have to right away hold it with your thumb, because that one, it's real easy to lose your first valve this way. And it's going to be this instrument's G. So it's a little on the flat side for the lead pipe part, so I sometimes push my tuning slide in a little bit and just do that, make sure that it's close-ish, but it requires a little more control, and it's actually a better reflection, I think. But the exercise you can do with this is you can bend your G as a sort of little scale down to low C and get a really focused low C, because low C tends to be kind of a low-key note. It's kind of nowhere, and it's easy to play. It's not. Don't get me wrong. Everybody can play low C, but does it sound the same as the rest of your notes, and is it related to them in some active way, or is it just, just falling into it? And so we want it to be a little more active. So what we can do is, and I learned this from my teacher, we can just bend that G down to a C, and then we can check the same way. And it has the same kind of effect. And then you can add tonguing to that if you want to play a little scale. So that's another thing you can practice and try. And then there are also pedal notes on these. You can find but you have to be really active to not do what I'm doing, which is kind of bottoming out in it. Anyway, so now we've found the reflection and we know we can get it. So what do we do next? Well, we haven't actually played the trumpet much. We've played back and forth between the trumpet and the lead pipe, but we haven't just played trumpet for a long time. And generally I do long tones. If you've done the Kentucky warm-up, we did a whole set of long tones in there, from I think G down to low G. We might have started on B, I can't remember now. But I usually, for me personally, my warm-up includes a B in the staff on B flat trumpet, all the way down chromatically, single long tones for one whole breath, all the way down to low F sharp, including low F. And then and it takes about 6 or 7 minutes to do. and that's a long time to play. So now we need to start playing for a little bit longer, but I do consider that the reflection exercises we just did are a little more intense, and we did them about the same amount of time that we would normally do long tones. Plus we've added in tonguing, which is actually a little more beneficial than long tones sometimes are. So if I had done this without talking in between to explain things, I think it is a good substitute for long tones in terms of your endurance and you're getting the same kind of thing out of it. This is where the notes are. And this is how I want it to feel when I play trumpet today. So, but we do need to apply that in a more singular way on the trumpet. So we're going to do some very slow slurs, if my valves will work. I guess we don't need valves for this, just to put them down. And this is from the Violin book. It's a great book. I don't think I'm spoiling too much by showing you the first exercise out of the whole book, but I think this is a very good slow slurs violin number 1. So, and we'll do it with a metronome, just so that we're sort of on the same page. I like 90 for whatever reason on everything. It seems like it's a really, I don't know, for these exercises it's a good tempo. Hell, let's go 100. I said a curse on the live stream. All right. So this is slow. This is violin number 1, and maybe just listen to the first one, then keep going with me as you pick it up, or maybe you can listen to it a couple times until you feel like you get it. Or you can look it up and try to find a copy or buy a copy, and here we go. Just to keep myself flexible and give myself a little rest. And now we just do the same thing with the second valve down, starting on F sharp. Because I need to know those anyway, and it's a good time to just make sure I got my F sharp major scale together. Just one octave, nothing, not doing an exercise. All right, next one. And it's okay if you bobble a couple of notes here too. It's not about being perfect, it's about finding that perfect way to do things that just works, right? So you have to let yourself off the hook for every, not every note has to be perfect right now. That we're trying to learn a better way to play, not make the way that we have to play work. All right, here we go. In fact, you probably did when I started playing something that's not anything like what's in the page that you're looking at or what have you. But here we go, E flat. 1, 2. Shaky for me, and that's because I didn't get my turnaround quite right. I was a little bit braced outward, and if I wasn't doing a YouTube here, I would have stopped and reset, which maybe I should have, as an example, but so it's okay to not get it right, is my point from before, and that was a good example. All right, here we go to D, and we're just not changing fingerings for these notes, so 2. That was a bad start. It's what's happening is I'm not getting even pressure, so I'm going to start with that. See, that time I got even pressure, but my tone was a little bit in a hole. So one more, C sharp. And again, if the low F sharp doesn't come out, don't just loosen up and let everything out to get it. Try to get it actively, and if you can't, work your way down to it. Maybe that's something that you stop the exercises and work on that. All right? Here we go, C sharp. 2. So, good. Now I'm almost out of time. We'll do one more exercise together, and that's faster slurs. I have a bunch more stuff. We haven't done high range, which maybe I'll just post a part 2 to this, and you could maybe mix and match then a little bit better. But this is, so far we've basically covered the reflection and applying it to playing. And we're just going to do a little faster slurs for the end of this so that we're getting a reflection, but we're not so buried in it that we can't be flexible. It's really easy to get braced into the reflection so that you feel like you're really leaning on that wall, but then you can't move around, you feel stiff. And that's being too muscularly active in an open way, right? We need to be muscularly active in a staying the same way and not just ripping our aperture open to get maximum reflection. That's a dangerous gambit. It seems like a really good idea until one day it just is, you have zero endurance and you have this really great big sound, but you can't play above G on top of the staff. So we'll do faster slurs. And so these are Vince Slurs. If you've done some of the other exercises, I think maybe both of my other warm-ups have Vince Slurs in them. They tend to be my go-to slurs because, well, they're not that easy. And they are fast, and they do cover the whole normal range of the trumpet. So before I run out of time here, let's do Vince Slurs. Again, we can do these with a metronome if you like. I generally don't do these with a metronome because I tend to do them a little bit at a time, but let's see. We can do 120, I think. Yeah, this is a good tempo. Here we go. Starting on C. And again, if you don't know what Vince Slurs are, listen to the first one. It's going to sound crazy, but just try your best. Well, in fact, I'll give you a little primer. So the first measure, let's call it, goes. That's the pattern, right? Those 3 notes, and you're going to go. Ooh, maybe that is too fast. Let's go 100. I was right the first time. All right, so it's C, G, C, and E. Then the next measure is going to be. So just up to G and back down. So like that, and you can always double up the 4th beat, and then the lower partials. So I'll do one, and then we'll just keep going together, down a half step, down a half step. The same as what we just did before, but now we're working from C down to low F sharp. All right? And you just try to do a lip trill at the end. All right, here we go. Starting on B. 2. You don't have to do that octave at the end. I just like it. Here we go. On B flat. 2. You don't want to get tight doing this either. Still sort of equal parts reflection and flexibility. Right? A, 2. Now A flat, 2. You don't want your embouchure to move around a lot, but if it needs to move a little with your jaw, maybe that's okay. A little bit of motion is okay, especially on these lower ones. Now G with the false fingering. 2 and. I fell behind on that one. Sorry about that. One last one. F sharp. 2. All right, so that's about half of the TC. I'll put part 2. Maybe I'll put that up tonight if I have time, or maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow sounds like a better idea, to be honest. But all we're going to do after this is prep for the high range, play into the high range, right? Work on our high range. Then we're going to do a thing called trill tones, and then a little color change exercise. And maybe if I do it as just a full part 2, then we'll do our modes. And again, I'll try to post these things on my Instagram, and maybe if I can be technologically smart about it, I will put links to those posts in the comments when I actually publish this as its own warm-up, as opposed to just the remnants of this live stream. So I'll try to get all that set up, so by the time you're watching this, if it's a couple of days or a couple of weeks after I created it, today is the 9th of August, so if it's a little bit later than that, I probably have done that stuff, and you can check in the links below. And that now I sound like a real YouTuber. Click in the links below and like and subscribe and follow and all that business. Do that if you want. I don't care. This is for my students and for people who might come to be my students in the future. And yeah, if you enjoy using these, do let me know that you're using them. And I like to hear from people. And if you have questions about this, absolutely email me. I'm very easy to find online. So anyway, that's it for now. See you next time.